Settling in without tears, as I often call it, because that's what we're aiming for, is a 5-step process. It might be that children will need 2 visits, some children will need 4 visits. The focus on this is that we are parent and child led. So we are going at the speed of the child particularly. Some children are really quick to build relationships with others. Some children have never had an experience of anyone caring for them other than their parent. Some children have already been to a setting where the settling in didn't work out for them and therefore have got a very strong stress response. Some parents may be also very fearful leaving their child, especially if it's their first time for them. So each stage, we're going to ask parents, are you ready to move on to the next one? We're going to closely observe children to see if we are ready and they are ready to move to the next step. So step 1, we've got the parent playing with the child, and little by little, the key person needs to take over that play. And favourite activities for me are things like blowing bubbles. So the key person is holding the bubble container and blowing bubbles. At first the parent is catching the bubbles with the child, but then the parent starts to take a back seat. And in each of these steps it can be useful to have agreed ahead with the parent a little bit of a signal to say this is the moment now to do a little less. So once the child is able to play comfortably and is looking really relaxed whilst the parent is there, actually step 1 is now over. We have made a connection with the child. The second step is the same again. We're playing with the child, but this time at an agreed signal, the parent is starting physically to distance themselves. They may just walk a couple of meters away, pick up a book and come back to the play and repeat it. And what we're looking for is that the child is able to cope when the parent physically moves a very short distance away, not engaged in the play in any way, and coming back. And the child is we're going to watch to see how is the child reacting. Does the child freeze, or is the child starting to be relaxed and they're coping with this little distance? Actually, that can happen quite quickly with some children. Step 3 is the most significant step in terms of the child. This step, I don't know, agreed a signal, the parent is going to move out of sight, within the same room, but out of sight. You might need to organise a bit of furniture. It might be hiding behind a sofa, just literally for 10 seconds, no more than that, but out of sight. The parent might dash into a cupboard, hide behind a hedge. It doesn't actually matter, but we want to see if the child can cope when the parent briefly goes out of sight. And that requires some practice for some children. For some children, we might need 10 repetitions of that little action before the child is feeling comfortable. Some children it's 20, and occasionally you'll have children who actually you can move on. But don't rush that step. That's the most critical one for the child. Step 4 is interesting. Step 4 is the most important step for the parent. In this step, we're going to help the parent learn to say goodbye to their child and to leave. So the play begins, the key person is playing with the child, agreed signal, and the parent says to the child, I'm just popping out to get. Ideally worth getting something for the child to make it in their interest. Parent leaves the room, but immediately comes back. And again, we keep repeating that until the parent is relaxing into what they're saying, that they're comfortable to say, I'm going, but I'm coming back. But actually the child is increasingly less bothered by that. And step 5, if we're getting all that in place, is quite straightforward. Step 5, we're now just going to increase the time that the parent is outside. So at first, the parent left, came straight back in. If the child is comfortable with that, now on step 5, the parent can go out and spend maybe 2 or 3 minutes and build it up. What is interesting with children, particularly at 18 months too, is that their reaction and stress comes in the minute they can't see their parents. So we've got the parents to be really happy going outside, and the child is happy for the parent to leave them, then actually we've cracked it. The difference between 5 minutes and an hour is nothing. So to recap, step 2 and 3 are about building relationship with the child and checking that the child can cope when the parent briefly is out of sight. Step 4 is about helping parents learn how to say goodbye and to go. Not to ask permission of their children, can they go, but to say, I'm going. And step 5 is an extension, just double checking that the relationship is strong enough for the child to cope when the parent isn't there.